thy kingdom come. Let the spirit of the Holy One pass over. Let your peace.
A very special 2-hour season finale episode of Spiritual Speaking and Awakening starts now.
This is the time to take a stand. To let the
This week's episode is sponsored by Dollhouse of Tampa Salon and Studio. Find your inner doll. They offer quick weave, sew-ins, and much, much more to fit every occasion. Need a wig? Selena's got you. She will customize a unit just for you. Book your next appointment on Booksy today. Did someone say nails? Honey, forget the Bayhive. Contact Queen Bee herself. She offers customized designer nails and even designer press-ons that she will customize and ship to you. Braids, and even twists. Book with Tiffany right on Facebook. Find your inner doll at Dollhouse Tampa Salon and Studio. Tampa. This week's episode is sponsored by Hustle and Bling. It don't mean a thing if you ain't got that bling. Lovely paparazzi designer pieces for only $5. That's right, $5. And don't worry about it if the kid gets in the jewelry box. They're only $5. Make sure you catch Allison Mondays and Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays live on Instagram and Facebook, promoting some of these wonderful fashion fixes that you'll enjoy. And if you miss it, check out the website. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that bling. Hustle and Bling.
Say goodbye. I'll take you to the park. Say goodbye. Say goodbye, hot dog. There we go. There we go.
Right along with Vanessa Morning Show streams Fridays, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay in love. Stay in Love TV is your production to distribution solution to getting your message seen and heard. Having your own TV show with Stay in Love TV has never been easier than now. Stay in Love TV gives you the power to share your message with the world. Stop watching TV and start being watched on TV. Stay in Love TV offers real-time multicasting, all with one click. This opportunity puts you on the world stage with an audience of over 200 million. In addition to your low monthly subscription fees, you will also receive monthly network coaching and training from the network itself to ensure that before your first show premieres, you are set up for success. We at Stay in Love TV bring over 20 years experience in sales, marketing, advertising, and business development. Stay in Love TV, purposeful entertainment driven by love, empowered with passion, fueled with faith. Go to www.stayinlovetv.com and let's get started.
This is thy kingdom come. Let the spirit of the Holy One pass over. Let your peace cover the earth. Lord, let your will be done. This is the time to take a stand. To let the world know that you can. You can face tomorrow, but today is the day that you say, I will reign. I will reign.
Hello, everyone. How are you? I am Vanessa Klinger, your intuitive life strategist and life coach motivator.
To the divine presence, power that's in you.
It's in you. Namaste. Namaste. I had you muted, co-host, so I only got just a little bit of it. Can you do it again? I
I'm
know.
Michelle, your spiritual evolutionist and your motivator. Namaste. I bow to the divine presence, power, and plan that God has prepared for you. Hey.
Woo! I'm telling you. Wow. Co-host, we did it. Another season.
It went, I really believe time is no more
It's just,
because everything is just
I know.
so yeah. It's exciting to start something and finish it. So yeah.
Right. And just to think about it, because you know how Facebook does that, it shares those memories and everything. And
Hmm.
every year we'll get a memory, and 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And it's coming up on 4 years, co-host. I mean, 2020.
Really?
Yeah. We started in the basement of Facebook and now we're here.
I never keep up sometimes with years. It's
Uh-huh.
like some people keep up with times. This happened, like you do that. And I'm like, how did she do that? Because I just don't. It's very few things that I know that happen. I know when I was born, I know my kids were born, but the rest of it is kind of just a haze.
I only know because some machine reminded me about it.
Oh.
It doesn't just like come to mind, but I'll see it and then I'm like, yeah, that's right. And then
No. But you remember stuff. You was like in 19 something something hours, something something and something something. I'd be like, what? You
okay.
do that. You do
I
that.
do.
Yes. You got a long-term memory. Long.
Sometimes, and I will accept it. I will accept it. I do have a good memory, but with everything that's
Yeah.
happening, if I'm overly stimulated, forget it. I couldn't even tell you my name.
Mm.
But if things are right and I'm centered and yeah, I'm able to work. But so we have a great show tonight. We do. We have a great
We
show.
have a conglomeration
Yes. Yes.
of greatness. Let's a conglomeration of greatness.
Yeah, I mean, and I think was it last season? I think we had one guest for the season finale. I think it was Dr. Jody. I can't remember. Can you? I can't remember.
I told you.
and
I just told you.
I'm like, and
Mm.
I know that the year before, we had John Lockett on, and we had a couple of guests, spaced out for a couple season here, season there. But this year we've just been, a
We've
bunch.
been flooded. Yeah, we've been flooded with good stuff from good people. And if you've missed anything, you need to go back and get some of this knowledge that's been flowing in the atmosphere this season. We've had blessing after blessing after blessing, and all of them have been in different areas, speaking on different topics. So it's been a blessing to be in the experience and having a ball doing it. Yeah.
Right. And it's I when I follow my inspiration, honestly. I really do. I follow my inspiration and I don't hesitate. And usually those are the times when everything just seems like
Exactly.
it's orchestrated and just
Mm-hmm.
it's in complete harmony and everything. And sometimes my instincts can be off, but when it comes to like this, Stay in Love TV and everything that's related to this, because I know that this is my baby that I had to give birth to. I'm totally led by my inspiration, spirit. I go by what feels right, and if it doesn't feel right, and yeah, but
And make no excuses about it either.
I make no excuses about it. I really don't. I'd have to rely on it because one false move and
Boom.
this whole house of cards would just fall to the ground. I gotta totally lean on you, Lord. Totally.
Mhm. That's not a
That
bad
was
place.
really
That's not a bad place. That's
I
a good place to be.
yeah, girl. I'm telling you, it's exciting walking this tightrope for faith. Are you kidding me?
Right. And knowing you can't fall
It's either
or
gonna bring out
fail.
it's either gonna bring out the Rocky Rottweiler in you or the
Yeah.
Pee Wee Herman Chihuahua, and you go on the run or raise yourself up. It's true.
But it always works for our
Always,
good.
always.
It may not feel good, smell good, taste good, I always say, but it always works good,
Yeah.
works for our good. So if we stop stressing, if if we stop being under pressure and just press, and they're not the same. If we just continue to press for the mark, we won't be under pressure. And so I think we just sometimes we extend our pressure, a helping hand to come on and help us when we should just be pressing. The mark is out there, it's finished, it's done. You just have to keep your focus and keep pressing. Because the woman with the issue, all the people were there and the crowds were there, but she pressed. She didn't pressure. She pressed. And
Can
once you
you
press toward the
imagine?
mark, hmm?
Can you imagine? I mean, I'm picking up on the feeling of what was going on inside of her, because when
Hmm.
you get to the point where you just, you have nothing else to lose,
Right.
right? And you're
Because
like, you know
you've
what?
given up everything. All your money is gone. All your
This
people are
is
gone.
right,
Nobody's helping you. You have
right.
nothing to lose. And that's a lot of times when we really get open, God opens up to us because we got nothing to lose. So let's just press to this mark and get there by any means necessary. And I kind of feel I can envision her too. A crowd of people, you're in pain, you're bleeding,
Girl, I
but
know.
you keep your eyes on the prize.
When you bring that woman with it, when you find yourself in the Bible, it just really makes it so much more personal, because I was the one with the issue of blood.
And put up two hands, 2 feet, and borrow somebody's.
Ooh, oh my goodness. And I'm just like, okay, there was some times I was in so much pain
Hmm.
that, you get to
Mentally.
this threshold where it's like, whatever. I'm just, yeah, no
Hmm.
pain pill work and nothing. You like, I guess and it actually increased my tolerance for pain. I have to see the value in it, and there was value in it. But
Yeah.
it was my cross to bear. But yeah, that woman with the issue of blood, she didn't have nothing else to lose. She was like, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm gonna be
Right.
stepped on, and I'm doing it.
And
I
there's sometimes it's not just physical pain, it's emotional, it's mental. Um, and you just there's nowhere else to go but to the prize, to the calling, to God. You've tried everything else. Can you imagine spending all your money on doctor visits and they're only practicing anyway, and they can't tell you what's going on with you?
yeah.
It's
You
and that's
totally have to operate on inspired action by being led by the Spirit, and that's the intention of this show, this network, is to enlighten people. And we were at had this thing last night, and it's like dinner thing, and we were talking about the church, and how people aren't going to church. I'm like, well, yeah, because this type of church is dying, and we need to bring practicality into this passion that you have for saving souls and deliver. No, everybody know. You can't. I mean, TikTok is amazing, right? So you can see children on the other side of the world in a dirt hut
hmm
with a phone. So you can't tell me, Jesus is gonna come back when I just refuse to believe that aren't there haven't been people who are aware of this. And what I'm getting at is this, okay, because I'm going off on a tangent. I'm gonna keep myself calm. Everyone knows that Jesus died for us. I want to go deeper. I want to really understand the philosophy and the psychology behind Jesus. My big question about myself has always been, why am I here? Because I've always felt like I was out of sorts, that I
Right.
didn't belong here. So I'm like, okay, then why am I here? If I don't feel like I belong here, then and then they're telling me in church that when we go to heaven, we're going to be with Jesus and all this kind. So I just want to have a platform where we can bring practicality back to ministry. I think we're smarter, we're more, we apply critical thinking more than the previous generations, and we
Well, a lot of us are not just taking somebody else's word. We're
Mhm,
actually going deeper to ask
mhm.
questions: why, when, what. We're not just passing information down, we're revelating on the information that has been passed down. And so that's what's making the difference. It's not just a preacher telling you something and you believing it and then that settles it. It's like you're hearing a word and you're getting a light, a revelation on it, and you're going deeper than what's being said. There are a lot of people that I listen to and I hear them, but I'm getting a revelation on what they said. They were inspired to say that. So what am I inspired to build on for myself on what they said? So a lot of people are now stopping and saying, asking questions. We were told a long time ago, you don't question God. Well, if you don't ask God, who are you going to ask? That's the originator. That's the creator. And so now we're really having a personal relationship instead of a religion with God, and we're asking questions and we're saying, why is this happening, God? So show me this, God. It's kind of like the disciple says, which were the 12 minds. They said, okay, show us how to pray. Show us how to do this. Why is this? You start asking questions instead of just saying, oh, okay, that's how you do it. Instead of duplicating, we're getting back to creating. And so that is where we are foundationally placed, so that part is opening up to people, so they're just not taking what you say as the final word, but they're going deeper and studying to show themselves approved. We keep talking about that.
and
um,
and it's good because it's going to hold the ones who consider themselves to be called of God, to be led to to minister, to pastor people. You're going to have to come with it, because this generation, this era, this time that we are in, people are extremely critical, and they're following their own intuition. And I
mm,
believe that this is how we're seeing his spirit being poured on all flesh, because now there's revelation that's happening, there's enlightenment that's happening, there's people that are seeking out the truth for themselves, because everyone's just so tired of being hoodwinked. We're tired.
right.
Just tell me the truth. I just want to know. Just tell me the truth. Okay,
Yeah,
whatever
it
that
feels
is right now, at the moment in time, tell me what that is, so that I
right.
can
And give me
fit right
my
in the
give
situation.
me right, give me equipment,
Yeah,
give me my tools,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that when you're not with me, I don't have to rely on what you're saying. I have the tools to work with what I have to do.
Right,
So, we've got to, it says to equip the saints, and we haven't been equipping them. We just been making them feel something for a temporary time, but then they go back into the battle and they don't feel that feeling that they were feeling when you were talking. And so they don't know what to do. So we got to equip, give them the necessary tools of how to do this, how to fish, how to
right.
put the bait on there.
And
Uh,
that's our one of our main intentions and objectives here is to attract the right people who want to share and enlighten from their point of view,
mhm.
but they're being inspired by God. I want you to be inspired and love. If you're inspired by God and love, then I'll be able to hear you. But if it's not coming from a place of love and God, because you can say Jesus all day, but
Mhm.
if ain't
Yeah,
no love behind it, it makes my ears itch. I
yeah.
can't do
It
that.
has to have that energy,
Love.
that
Yeah, that is
frequency.
what's coming from God.
Yeah, it has to have those vibrations, the frequency, and the energy in it.
Yeah,
That's what the word was. It wasn't letters or sentences. It was a vibration. It was a pull. It was a something that would attract people That's why I said, if I be lifted up, that is the energy that you lift up, and it attracts people to it. And we've got to just allow people to speak what they're hearing and not look down on what they're hearing, but let them say what they need to say, whether you agree with it or not. That's why the gospels came along. All of them saw the same thing, but they didn't write the same thing. So, but they saw the same thing. So how does Mark and Matthew write about something that John never saw or never said or never found something that he could write about? So we're writing this story, and we're finding things that we can write in our own story.
That went over some people's head, co-host. Gone.
It'll come back.
It'll come back. That was a Michelleology right there.
Yeah, it'll come back. It's a boomerang. It's a boomerang. It'll come back.
I'm going to come back and re-listen to the recording. And I had to message Abby. I'm like, can you please free up some space? Because StreamYard just told me they won't be able to catch this episode. So thank goodness we're streaming to social media and everything. Because I'm gonna have to come back and re-listen to this episode because this is good already. Now, our intention is to follow this tight timeline so that we give our amazing guests enough time. Dr. Jody was supposed to be joining us. She's a little bit late. She had some last minute emergency things, personal things, but she says, I'll be able to come in this time. So we're readjusting the schedule a little bit. So she'll be coming in and joining us when we have Lydia, Queenie, and Fred on their segment. So it's going to be a nice little panel in about 10 minutes because we're going to have everybody on, and they're going to be sharing their a supernatural visitation that impacted their life and sharing about their products and services and just imparting to us their wisdom and insight to help, serve the purpose of spiritually awakening all those that we encounter, because some people that are asleep. And you know what, co-host? Okay, we're gonna go to commercials. Okay, I remember before, the last few times, I was in the one of the churches that I was in, and I used to see how people would fall, and I always question, like, why are they asleep? And the Holy Spirit was talk to you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're spiritually asleep. They probably don't get any rest until they come to the house of God, and they just out.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. Yeah.
I was never able to do that even when I wasn't awake to the point that I am now. I always thought it was respectful to God if you're in that space to at least pay attention, not knowing that some of the stuff I was paying attention to was things that I should not be doing. That's why I was paying attention to it. So I would know that that's something that I want to incorporate in my walk, in my journey with God. So that sleep thing is deep. When we're supposed to sleep, we're awake. And we are awake. We're supposed to be there. It's a fine line sometimes. We sleep on the things we should be awake on, and we are awake on the things we should be asleep on. So we've got to discern.
It is high time. I really believe in the days of revelation, and there's so much information for people ever learning and then never coming to the knowledge of the truth, where it's going to be a requirement. And you can always distinguish I call it the ones who know that we're not trying to persuade you or anything. We just want you to see things in a different way and take it back and, take it away and take it with you and go and commune with God and the Holy Spirit and say, okay, wait a minute. What is this? Rightly divide the words of truth that all of us can impart to others. Rightly divide that. What does that look like? Get that knife out. Slice into it. If you have to taste it and noodle on it, as they say, do that, because that's going to help you get the revelation, you get the enlightenment that you need. So enough plugging. Well, I just been sitting there plugging the network. Girl, plug. So tonight, the whole season, supernatural visitations. And the last one for the season is the Mount of Transfiguration. I thought, how appropriate. Co-host, we came up with these titles and everything, theme, months ago.
Right.
Before we had even secured these amazing guests that are on. So I'm thinking so appropriate. Now, we are going to run a short commercial. And when we come back, we're going to dive into supernatural visitations for a few minutes. Then we'll bring everyone else on and let them join us, those who want to come on and share and provide, just share with them their supernatural visitation and everything. So let me stop talking.
Okay.
I was gonna say I really love that blouse you have on tonight, co-host.
Yeah. I had to do something special for the finale. You can't just come in like you gotta come in popping.
Boring me, same old thing. It just
you still popping, girl. I got you.
Yeah. So when we come back, we're going to go into our discussion for tonight, the Mount of Transfiguration. Also, we're going to have our amazing guests, Lydia Pope Burden, Calloway, Queenie Brown, Rex Sikes, and hopefully Dr. Jody. So stay tuned.
Get ready for your now awakening today. Get ready for your now awakening. Today's Michelleology, Monday, 7 a.m. Eastern, only on Stay in Love TV.
This week's episode is sponsored by Organic Sunscreen Moisturizer, Sheer Perfection Moisturizer that can only be found on perfectiondayspa.com. Contact Delia today.
That's right. We are back, and I looked in the green room, and she is here, Cole. She is here because we've got to rearrange some furniture and everything because Dr. Jody is here. So I'm just okay.
Calm down.
They know about our topic tonight, and so we're just gonna kind of let it just kind of blossom organically.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that she's on a tight schedule and she just accommodated us. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to run this quick little teaser intro. And then when we come back, we're going to have Dr. Joe D. Bear. So let me just fix this because she's here so I can get rid of that. And Dr. Jody Bear right after this.
America's top foundational health coach, Dr. Jody Bear.
Whoa! Okay. Dr. Jody! Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies, for giving me grace and thank you because we just don't know when things are going to happen. As I was supposed to come on later on in your wonderful program, a dear friend of mine of over 25 years, they planned her memorial on Zoom on Facebook to honor her, and I'm speaking at the same time. But that's what Stay in Love is all about because you ladies, I just want to honor you for a moment. You have heart. You have heart and everything do because your spirit is correct. And I am just so I'm thinking this is the third time I've been on your show. Yeah, y'all know I all know that you've got more guests than me to be on here. So I am way honored. I'm way honored because we have a connection. We have that heart connection. We have that spiritual connection. And I just wanted to share just a couple of things that have happened since the last time I was on here because as you know, my book, as you had up there, The 21 Days to Your Best You, it debuted May 17th. 5 countries, international bestseller, 14 categories. 6 of them were spirituality. Who knew that people would get that it's spiritual, physical, in the 6 pillars, mental, emotional, social, and financial. They would get the spiritual because it starts with the spirit. That's where you have those supernatural things. But what people don't know is it was 1.1 million copies of my book sold that first week, books and downloads. That was a supernatural visitation because what happened 10 days before this, ladies, is that Facebook deplatformed me.
Mm-hmm.
I had a marketing program of 155 different touch points on Facebook. You don't do that in just a minute. Okay. That takes a while. And they shut me down. And I'm saying, I just pleaded to my Heavenly Father, show me a way. Now, you know that I meant this book for good. You know that this is my 4 decades of practice. You know that I lost our wonderful Donda Safar to a horrible fire and all of that. And you know that now we're raising money for her school over in Pakistan where she was born. So I'm asking you as a petition to give me grace. And immediately, ladies, Michelle, Dr. Michelle, Queen Vanessa, I'm telling you, I thought of 20 people that I knew that could bring in another 20,000 in their camp. And it just happened supernaturally. It happened instantly. And that's when I know that because you live, as my quote says, you live this, your micro living controls your macro life. It's what you do in those little things. It's what you do in that prayer closet. It's what you do when you're not being seen that makes all the difference. And so what I will say, it is kind of like a supernatural layer of gratitude, because you ladies were my first TV show to promote this. And I have such gratitude for you. And yes, that was so cute. Dr. Jody Bear, America's top foundational health coach, but servant leaders are what you all are. Because I always say in my tagline, 1 million pounds of toxic fat lost, 3,000 COVID clients to reclaim and regenerate their lives. But the next health, the next pounds can be yours. You make it, people think that it's the next person, the next person, the next person that makes all the difference, because you know that you will go ahead and you will do the work, and you will do the work of the rest, because he, our Heavenly Father, gives the best. So I wrote an acrostic for you, Dr. Michelle and Queen Vanessa. It means excellence. And it's this, because it's 21 days to your best you, keys to a life of excellence. This is what you created in this broadcast. This is what you do each and every day. And this is what you all both bring into the world. So you ready?
Yes.
E is for every day. X is for extra. C is consistent. E is for enthusiasm. L is for living. Next L for love. You do it for each one, no matter what, with commitment in eternal work and faith. That is who you ladies are, without a doubt. And guess what we're doing? Guess what we're doing? And I just wanted to share this as well. We're doing, because this woman and I did a relationship ministry. I went to 2 of those programs that we are honoring, my dear friend that passed away. She did 40 of these programs. See, that's what you do. You excel. That's that extra. You excel in what you do. You make it look easy. And so I wanted to just read the poem that I read in conclusion. I did this for your show that I was so pleased to be on. And I know because you always do it extra, extra better. I can't imagine what your next season is going to be like, ladies. But I wrote this poem actually with my dear friend's Barbara's help. So I thought it was so fitting to do it right now. And you've heard it before, but you're going to hear it again. You ready?
Okay.
Our Creator said, build a better world. And I simply said, can you show me how? This is such a cold, dark place, so complicated now. I am just once so passionate, yet helpless, for there is so much work here to do. Then I felt his spirit, his loving touch and voice, when he reached down to me and said, so build a better world, my dear child. Give others healing and hope. Start with this one, then go to 2. Then you have begun your life's work to build a better you. And with Barbara, we're supposed to wear a hat. And what I did was this. I'm thinking, okay, I don't have a hat. We're still in our non-mold remediated home. So this is for you. And And Michelle, this is my Queen baseball hat.
I love it.
Because you two are co-queens. Congratulations to you. May this next season be the best season, but this was an amazing for the rest of your season.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dr. Jody. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I'm getting all misty. Thank you. Love you so much, Dr. Jody. Wow. Oh my gosh, I got all misty. She's so, doesn't she make you feel good? I mean, oh my gosh. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying. I was like, I can't hear her.
Yeah.
Oh, just like she comes in and just like gets like a warm blanket of
Yeah.
love. Yeah.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it. It's not often that people quickly tear you down, but very few times do people tell you you're doing a good job or you've made a difference. And so it's always good to hear that from someone of her caliber.
Yeah. I mean, so, but let's see, where are we? We're making some good time. We're making some good time, co-hosts. We have a few minutes to go into our little discussion to kind of give a little basis for our guests that'll be coming on. So let's go here. So let's go into Mount Transfiguration, right? And where is it?
Matthew 17.
Matthew 17. And I have it here. Where is it? There it is. It's way up here. Okay, there we go. All right. There we go. Okay. All right. So the scripture highlight. Matthew 17, 1-8. Scripture highlight. 6 days later, 3 of them saw that glory. Jesus took Peter and the brothers, James and John, and led them up a high mountain. His appearance changed from the inside out, right before their eyes. Sunlight poured from his face. His clothes were filled with light. Then they realized that Moses and Elijah were also there in deep conversation with him. All right, supernatural visitation, Mount of Transfiguration. Why am I so emotional? Okay. I want to hear your take on this, co-host, because when I was reading this, I was like, okay, I know co-host is going to really give us a different perspective on this.
When it talks about that they went up in a high mountain, we're going to look at that as in your mind, in your imagination, in your Christ consciousness. They experience light. The transfiguration means to change for the greater or for something greater than what it was. So they begin to see, they always saw Jesus from the outside. They had not really gotten a glimpse of his insides, of his glory, of his power. They were able to experience that in their imagination, in their high mountain. So notice that every one of the disciples or the mindsets, remember we talked about the 12 disciples being 12 mindsets. All the mindsets cannot see that glory. So 3 meaning resurrection.
Wait, just a minute. Say that again, please.
All of the mindsets that are represented cannot see that glory. And there were only 3, which is the 3 always signifies a resurrection. So the high mountain, the resurrection, the 3, all of that was lining up to see the glory of God. And so as they were looking and seeing the glory of God, they also noticed Moses and Elijah to come in. And it says that was afterward, Elias to come in. Now, Moses represented the law. So with Jesus present, they saw the law. Elijah represented the prophecy, which is the Old Testament. And the Old Testament was represented because Jesus had come. That of the law and the prophecy is the fulfillment. He was the fulfillment of that. Once the fulfillment came, doesn't mean it's not significant, but it means it's in the finish mode. That means we're not going back to that perspective, or those things are already filled. Jesus said, I come to fulfill. I didn't come to destroy it. I come to fulfill the law, and he fulfilled the prophecies. So the mindset of the three that came went back to the flesh. They started saying, well, let's build a tabernacle. Let's build three, one for Jesus, one for the Old Testament law, and one for the Old Testament prophecy. And Jesus was saying, no, you can't do that, because I'm here. I'm the fulfillment. I'm the finished product. I'm the one that has come. That's why the change happened. It was a changing of the guard from the law, from the prophecy to the fulfillment. And so once they said that, after Jesus said, no, I'm it, there's no need for the law to be represented. There's no need for the prophecy to be represented, because I'm fulfilling all of it. And so as that happened, they could no longer see Moses or Elias, because, or Elijah, however you pronounce it,
Right.
They could not see that anymore. Why? Because the light had come, the Savior had come, the fulfillment had come. So all of that is a transfiguration. Once we come out of religion of the law, religion of the old prophecies, and we wake up to the Christ consciousness, there's a transfiguration, there's a change, there's an opening. Everything begins to open up, and the light begins to shine, so that we can see that all is well, because we're now in Christ consciousness. Did that as fast as I could.
You did very well, because it's great, and it's going to give this great input for the rest of our guests to come on and share their inputs as well. I'm just like, okay, the mindset is what made me want to jump up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true, because you have to be in the right mindset to really get an understanding of God, of what he's trying to share with you, not me and you personally.
And it was also showing we have to let go of the past and be present in the now, so that we can see the light and the revelation of what God is bringing us. It is so exciting. I was thinking the other day, people always think prosperity is money, and that is a form of prosperity. But when you can wake up every morning and get a revelation, oh God, I'm riding down the street just having a ball, laughing, talking to God, like he's sitting right there, and I'm having this conversation, and I'm excited like I have $1 million. There's nothing that can touch the spiritual prosperity of having a relationship and being Christ conscious. Man, it's nothing like it. I can't.
That's the best thing you could ever do.
Oh my God.
For your children. Don't, I'm not going to leave you any money. I'm going to give you something. This is a relationship with God and yourself, and the God in you.
Oh my God.
All that, so that you can understand. Because I was sharing that on our ride. Like I said, because this world that we are a part of can really mess you up.
Yes.
It could really, really just have it where you're just, you just done gave up and quit completely.
Right.
But if you understand that you're here on assignment, and this place ain't your home, you'll have a totally different perspective on everything. Worrying about these doggone bills? Are you kidding me?
I think I said
where our support system comes from. And you have this different approach to these life's experiences, man.
I think I said this week in one of my sayings on TikTok, don't be I don't know how I worded it, but I said, when God spoon feeds you your needs, despise not those small beginnings, because he's a God of increase. I heard that so loud in my spirit. When he spoon feeds your need.
Yeah.
And we get all turned around because we don't have an abundance of something or something or something. But you're in a relationship with a God of increase. He only operates in increase, and you're worried about a spoonful when you are actually, you have the abundance that you're walking with. Oh
Right.
man, I'm excited. I'm about to run
Yep.
around this
All
place.
right. Yeah, we're gonna run just a quick intro and bring up our great guests here, Lydia Pope Burden, Fred Calloway, and Queenie Brown. So stay
Let's
tuned,
go.
everybody. Let me just cue up everything. I got it already. You're gonna love it, co-host. So you guys ready? We're gonna bring you on. All right.
And now tonight's very special guest, God's Alpha Male, Fred Calloway, freelance for sale author Lydia Pope Burden, and Mother Love founder and keynote speaker, Queenie Brown.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Let me get this set up right here. Hello, everybody. Let me try to make sure there we go. That's a little better. Wow. So first and foremost, thank you all so much. You guys, I mean, why am I so emotional? My goodness. I just had this idea, right? I'm like, I wanna hear different perspectives from different people. And I didn't know any of you, and you're streaming, and boom, you get a little check in your spirit. And I'm like, And I think Fred, you and I are on LinkedIn. So it was just like, just totally just how everything just organically happened. So I'm extremely grateful and honored that you all set aside some time and you accepted to join us for our season finale as we talk about tonight. As you share your thoughts on a supernatural visitation, and you probably had so many that really changed, your life in some way. And the intention is that whatever you have to share, it gives someone who's listening or watching the encouragement that they need. Because I truly believe that this is all orchestrated by our wonderful Creator. So, Queenie, I know that your focus is on healing the mother-daughter relationship, which is such, oh wow, such an amazing calling. So share with us a moment that you had that changed, your life in some way.
Wow. Well, so my focus is on healing the mother-daughter relationship, but it starts with healing the heart of the mom, because I'm not a new mom. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they were both miracles. I was told at the age of 34 that I would never be able to have babies. I would never be a natural mom. And if I did push the envelope and try, that there would be all these horrible things. My child would be deformed or stillborn, or I'd be paralyzed. It was just a lot. And, God started me through this journey of healing my body, and he walked me through going deeper with him and creating a heightened level of intimacy with him so that I would understand more clearly who I am and the power that he's put on the inside of us to heal. These bodies that God gave us are phenomenal, and we have no idea what we have access to and what we have on board. And so God walked me through this journey, and it healed my body. It opened my body up to be able to get pregnant 4 times in my 40s. And I delivered as I was turning 43 and as I was turning 46.
Wow.
And so, it's been interesting. And it's been a blessing. But at the same time, I was journeying through a tumultuous relationship, and ultimately I ended my marriage. And the trauma that I endured and that my daughters endured, it opened the door to recognizing how many moms are struggling with their relationships with their daughters.
Wow.
And how many moms are parenting through their pain, and they're parenting through their wounds, some of the wounds from childhood even, that they never really learned how to process. And so I wrote, my first book was called The Self-Love Lessons. 7 lessons every woman must learn about herself and the power of womanhood. And you can all download it for free at queeniebrown.com. But when I documented that journey, God began to reveal to me as I started talking to more and more women, the wounds that we're carrying and how, you know, we look like we got it all together and we keep it nice and neat and tucked in. But the truth is that we are wounded beyond measure. And unfortunately, we, as one of my daughters are tapping on the door right now, unfortunately, we struggle and we don't realize that our woundedness is affecting and infecting our children. And so I started talking to these women and I started sharing with them the lessons that God had walked me through with my book. And in the process, I learned the depths of the pain that women are holding on to. And I realized how much we're carrying. A lot of women have been raped and nobody knows about it. A lot of women have been in abusive, traumatic relationships and nobody knows about it. And so when we don't learn how to process through that stuff, it ends up leaking into every area of our lives. So that's kind of what helped me recognize that there was a need. But then, of course, God took me on this amazing journey. Now, this visitation, I'll tell you very briefly, it was what birthed the Mother-Daughter Journal. I found myself standing in a Barnes & Noble in front of a wall full of journals looking for a gift for my sister. And I felt led to grab a journal. And so I did. And as soon as I did, all these instructions just downloaded to me. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. So I went home and I typed up the instructions, sent it to my sister. She opened it and used it and changed her relationship with her daughter completely. So the instructions were for her to pour out everything she believes about her daughter in the very first passage. Tell her all the things, all the gifts that she sees, all the wisdom, all the specialness that lives on the inside of her daughter. Have that be the very first passage so that when her daughter forgets who she is, or when she's questioning her value, or when someone tears her down, she'll always be able to go back to that first passage and be reminded of who she is. And then at the end of the passage, the mom is to ask the daughter a question and then tuck it under the daughter's pillow. And so when the daughter finds it, she's able to read it. Of course, she's going to be moved. She'll answer the question and tuck it back under mom's pillow. And so that opened the door for the journey for my sister and her daughter to begin a completely new depth of conversation, more intimacy. It gave my niece her voice. It just created a phenomenal connection. And then in 2015, my sister passed away. So unfortunately, fortunately for my niece, she has her journal and she reads it and she still writes to her mother in it this day. So because God led me to do that, I started to make more of them and share them, and other moms and daughters were being impacted. And so I just released the newest version of it, and I've incorporated a lot of emotional intelligence so that mom can, through her daughter, start to heal herself. A lot of the stuff that we deal with our daughters is really a reflection of our own stuff that's been unhealed. So yeah, so it's been an amazing journey, and I'm super excited about it. And it's impacting women all over. So I'm super glad to be able to talk to you guys about it right now.
That's great. Thank you so much, Queenie.
You're very welcome.
You shared some great pointers here, and I wanted you guys feel free to provide input as you share. But what I heard was that moment where you had to end your marriage, and that's a traumatic event, especially when because what I heard was you had the babies, and then you got divorced.
Yeah.
Okay, so having babies in your 40 is, I've never had children, but I've been 40.
Girl,
I
can we just have a moment?
I hardly survived 40, just being
Right.
single and going through my experiences. So I can just imagine having two girls in your 40s back to back, and then you had to go through that event.
Yeah.
So I can just imagine.
It was challenging.
Painful.
The most painful part of it was I was in a narcissistic, abusive situation. And I started to see that impact my daughters. And it's sad that I was in a situation where I wasn't in my mind. And I think I've just been beaten down so long for in so many ways. It wasn't enough for me to be hurt. But when I started to see them get hurt, that was where I drew the line. And so I made a pact with God, get me out of here, and I'm singing to the rooftops.
Right.
And that's where I've been ever since. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I had kind of the same situation. I had Miracle at 40 and Robert at 43. And soon after that, me and my husband were divorced. So I can identify with the trauma of that, the things that you go through in order that you can, when you start looking at your children, you have to have a supernatural visitation, because it's not just you anymore. It's them, and they're looking to you. And we don't like to say it, but they look at us as the God first, because they have not experienced the God that we serve, but they look at us as the God first. So those are some good points that you made.
Thank you for that. The other part of that is when you've been through trauma, you don't realize how it changes you, how it changes your heart, and you become someone different. And so the mother that I always thought I would be, I couldn't be her in that trauma.
Right.
And so my kids couldn't have the best of me in that trauma. So I had to heal. And the blessing is they've got trauma now, but they're learning how to heal it too by watching me. And so that's what I want moms to know. We get to heal. We get to heal. We get to have support, and our children get to watch so that they can learn from it too. You know, they have to have an example of it. They're going to do what they see, not what we say.
Right.
So, you know, it has been quite a journey, and I'm still in it. You know, I'm not by any stretch on the other side. My youngest will not stop touching this door right now. She's 7 and the other is 10. I'm at the park trying to do it, be every woman. But the point for moms and for women is that we don't fully understand what God put on the inside of womankind. And I'm going to just go out on a limb. Fred, I hope I don't step on you or your religion when I say this, but but if you look back at the story of creation, and I don't know much about you, Fred, I'm saying this because you're a man on the call.
Okay, go right ahead.
I don't know. I know that when you look back at the story of creation, God created everything, including man. And then he created woman. And woman is an upgraded being. Woman is not like the rest of mankind. We have a heightened sense of intuition. He calls wisdom a she in the Bible. We hold within us the portal to life. There is so much more power that women hold. And because we've been oppressed for forever, we don't really have access to it. And so part of my calling is to help women get it, that we are a part of the answer. But if we don't know how to heal, everyone stays stuck. You know, when you heal the heart of a woman, you literally change her entire family. Everyone connected to her is impacted in the best way, including her entire community. So we get to heal, and we get to have support as women, and then we get to spread that example to the rest of mankind and really make an impact in this world.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And I know that women are a complement to men. You know, they're not a supplement.
No, sir.
They are a complement to men. So I agree with you.
Amen.
Yeah, Lydia. Wow. Thank you so much, by the way, Queenie. Now, if you need to drop, you just let us know. And I just appreciate you joining. And but feel free to hang out with us to enjoy this great information. Wow.
I'm honored to hang around until I can't.
Yeah, Lydia. So share with us a moment that you would consider a supernatural visitation that changed your life.
A supernatural visitation. Well, first I need to make something known. This is my spoon, Michelle. And this is God's spoon. So I was moving around because I had to go get my spoons. I had to show you the difference. And I
was like, oh no, she's doing something with the kids or some of her husband.
No. I just show you the difference between my spoon and his spoon. So I'm telling you, when we have plans for our lives, and God has a totally different plan for your lives, you just have to let him spoon feed you and move you in the direction he wants you to go in. So I was listening to you guys, and I had so much I want to say. Then Miss Queenie came in and just took all my thoughts away from that.
Sorry, girl.
It took me in a totally different direction. So I worked for many years at a battered women's shelter. So I can co-sign on what you're saying. I learned a lot about how we hold stuff inside and how it affects our children, our co-workers, things that we feel that we're keeping a secret, but it manifests itself in some other way, either through how your children respond to people. All of that affects the environment. So we have to figure out another way to make sure we create an environment so that people can come to us and talk to us about some of the things that they're going through before it gets so bad. But it was tough because I met women who were married to preachers, who were married to police officers. So they had built a wall that I can't talk to anybody about it in any type of position because I don't know who I can trust and can't trust. But the sisters touched on something even prior to Miss Queenie. And I was sitting here thinking, like, thank God for his light, because the powerful messages and the spiritual words that come from our sisters in that Old Testament, they couldn't speak. They had to go through their husbands to speak. So I'm so thankful that they have that wisdom to share with us now. And you mentioned something too that I've been discussing lately, the importance of whether you're at a church, whether you're at a temple or a mosque or wherever you are, you make sure you are being spiritually fed by whomever is talking. You know, we grew up, I'm down in the South. So we grew up with the preachers doing the yelling and the jumping and the screaming and the shouting and the kicking. But when you leave, like, what did you learn? What did you say?
You learned how to dance and stomp and
you're
scream at
slobbering, you're
people who weren't
drooling,
there.
you're growling. Yeah, I'm like, what did I learn that I could take to work with me tomorrow? What did I learn that I can bring back in my home? And
I know practicality. Where is it? Where's practicality in the church? We were just talking about that. I'm like, oh boy.
Right. That's where I was listening. I'm like, oh my God. I was trying to wave my hand like, tag me in. Tag me in. I'm like, I feel you. I'm right there with you. It's like that is so important that we make sure we're being fed wherever we are. And I wanted to co-sign with the doctor that spoke earlier. We just thank you, ladies, for creating this platform and an environment where we feel safe enough to be who we are and to discuss it, and we can spiritually connect with one another. I could feel Queenie. I can feel you guys. I haven't heard the gentleman yet, but I'm waiting. You know, we have a connection. Even if we don't know each other, we don't know what each other have done or what we've been through, but just that heart connection that you get with people that are genuinely speaking from their experience. Now, I am 53. Yeah, I'm telling my age. I don't care. And I recently, I would say within the last 10 years, have been able to have that relationship with my mother that you have discussed. And now that we're able to talk about some things, because, you know, the mothers were taught back then, you just do what I say. Don't worry about what I've been through. I'm not talking to you about my childhood. That's irrelevant. You're my child, so you just do what I say. And now I understand her parenting and her belief system. Now that I understand all the things she and my aunties and all have gone through in their youth, but they didn't feel the need to share it with me as a child. So I get to hear it now, and I'm like, wow, now I get it. I get it, and I can have compassion and empathy and understanding. So, you know, it's important that you continue your work, Queen, and push that information out there, not just the mothers and their daughters, the fathers and their sons, and vice versa, that they know it's okay and it's safe space to be able to have those hard conversations with the children before they have to have those conversations with the children. Build those bonds now, and they will remain for the duration of that child's life or that parent's life. So I'm just so thankful to be here. I'm glad you brought me on before. I really enjoyed you guys and talking about Moses. And I got a chance to share my book, Free Land for Sale. So I'm just so thankful for the platform. And I pray that God continue to bless you ladies, give you brilliant ideas, more ideas that you can continue to touch the society and the world and the women out there and continue to build us up. And we pray that you continue to get the power and the guidance that you need to do so. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lydia. Oh my gosh. So if you guys thought that Dr. Jody was amazing, wait till you hear Rex, and he's going to be joining us. He's going to be ending the show tonight. And I just wanted to share Dr. Jody and Rex with you all and everybody. You guys are amazing. I'm just like, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, I did not bring any Kleenex here. I don't have them here. But I'm be okay. Fred, I'm
Yes.
sitting here listening to Queenie and Lydia and thinking how Queenie's calling and purpose is akin to yours in some way, because your focus is on the development and the betterment of the male.
That's correct. I shared something last time that we were together, and I want to share this again because of what Queenie talked about in terms of trauma. You know, I talked about my first memory of my mother and the first memory of my father. They were completely different memories. And I shared that my first memory of mom was lying on a bed with her not her stepmother, but her sister-in-law, if you will, sister-in-law's baby. And her sister-in-law was sitting beside her. And I thought that was her baby. Again, I was 3 years old at the time. And I asked if it was her baby. And she said no. And I was really sad about that and started crying. So fast forward 3 months later, my mom had her baby. And the baby, my brother, was 3 months old. Like I said, he was lying there next to mom. And then now here comes the first memory of my father. Okay, the first memory of my father was now he's on top of her trying to beat her brains out and snatching the hair out of her head. And I could hear that. Now, that sound of my mom's hair being pulled out of her head, out of her skull, I never forgot it. And it's been with me all of my life. I even shared that with my brothers, my sons, how wicked and evil a sound that was, and how that really stuck with me all of my life. So so that was my trauma, and that affected me all of my life, and it made me know that that was something that was so terrible that I never wanted to hear that again. I never wanted to see that again. And then I never wanted to be that kind of man. So yes, those traumas affect us. And then it's how we handle those traumas. You know, what do we become from those? Do we become something that is akin to that and we become that? Or how do we say, no, that's something that I need to make sure never happens in my life or in my children's life or lives, and then make sure that we live the kind of life that we know that God wants us to live. And the other point I wanted to make too is when Queenie asked a question, or she was stating to me about women being given to men as more to give vision. I agree with her. And I said, women are complements to men, not supplements. And I looked at complement, and a complement is a thing that completes or brings to perfection. So that's why I said women are complements to men, and more men should understand that, and then not take women for anything less, and then be part of what God wants them to be in terms of how they treat their women and how they take care of them. I was in a meeting this past Tuesday. We had a meeting in our men's church ministry, and the thing that the men wanted to talk about was they wanted to discuss the role of men and what defines a man. So good subject. You know, everybody was all keyed up, you know, and we had about 20 or 30 guys there, you know, that are all members of the church. Some are leaders in the church. And so even the pastor was there as well. So they talked about, okay, what is a man? What defines a man? And so words came out as being responsible. So they talked through that. What does it mean to be a responsible man? Then they also mentioned protecting their home. Protect your home. That's what men do. And all of the guys kind of talked about how they protect their homes. The other thing that came out, which kind of took my ear, is that they also said that men wanted to be alpha males. So then my ears just pinged, and I kind of thought, let's get this discussion going. So they talked about, men wanted to lead, they wanted to be dominant. That's the feature or characteristic of an alpha male. They want to accomplish, and some of the other things that aren't as good as men wanting to, have more women. That's what has been defined as an alpha male, and they want to lead in that way. And also, one of them said that women should submit to their men. And I guess they were thinking or saying that also makes a man an alpha male, that women should submit. But the comment came out to say, okay, if that's the case, then if you want your woman to submit, then you have to be the right kind of man. What does submitting mean? It doesn't mean just doing what he tells you to do, but agreeing with, if you're a man of God, then agreeing with you, this is the way that we should lead our life in our home and so forth. And when we all, I guess, completed the discussions, then I mentioned to them, okay, guys, what we need to be talking about is not just an alpha male, but God's alpha male. And then I had that discussion with him, and I kind of just went through what I thought, what I am saying that God's alpha male is. And by the same time, it kind of made me a little proud of the shirt that I was wearing, because I was wearing a shirt that says God's alpha male loves his wife.
How appropriate. Don't you love how that works? Don't you love how this works?
That's exactly right. So that's that inspirational thing that comes to you. That visitational thing that says, this is why you are here. This is why you are a part of this. To also tell these men that are talking about alpha male or alpha males, but they need to understand what is a God's alpha male. So I went through the entire thinking and how I started the business and what I thought God's alpha male should be. I talked about God's alpha male as a praying man. He's a family man, a faithful man. He loves his wife. And I revealed to them that all these traits, like I discussed last time, these traits of an alpha male are already in your hearts. God has already put all of that in your heart. That these traits and characteristics that you want, but you have to use those in the right way, and then you can still be the alpha male, but you have to be God's alpha male. And then you'll be complete in yourself, because if you're not, then you're going to fight with it. Then you're going to do all these things that are fighting with your spirit, fighting with who you are. And then you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and you're going to hurt a lot of people, a lot of families, because you're using those things that God gave you in the wrong way. He gave you that. He gave you that strength. He gave you that leadership. He gave you that desire to guide, the desire to accomplish all those things as an alpha male, but use them the right way. And they were all just so pleased with that conversation. And then, they remembered it. And when I saw them in church this morning, when I went to church, they all talked about it. And when they saw me, they said, man, that was a good conversation. They really like it. They remembered God's alpha male. So now that's what they should look at in terms of who they need to be, who they want to be. And they can balance that in terms of, okay, I want to be these things. I know I can accomplish these things, but let me use what God has given me, the way he wants me to use those characteristics, those talents, and all those things that I have. I can still use them and be the man that God wants me to be.
Thank you so much, Fred. I'm just sitting here listening and hearing this, that sometimes those supernatural visitations may not be so aesthetically pleasing. Because those moments of traumatic events during our lives can really bring clarity, I believe, to give one a sense of identity and purpose.
Yes. Yeah, and the other thing about that is that was a beginning of a tragic childhood for a long time. Because of that just kept occurring, that type of abuse
Right.
and type of physical abuse. It just kept occurring as I was a small child. And I knew that that was affecting me greatly. You know, I don't know about how it affected my brothers, but the way it affected me, you know, I feel it to this day. So that's why I have to make sure that I, you know, am going to live my life the way that God wants me to. And those things that were put in me, you know, to try to help others to not be that, you know, to be what that alpha male is, dominating women, abusing women, and all that kind of thing. No,
Right.
that's not it. That's not it. This
Right.
is the way we need to go.
Wow. And it's just applaud you, sir, for picking up the mantle seriously and moving forward. And you seeing how God is creating these moments, these opportunities where you can share and really be able to utilize your purpose.
And
I
thank
mean,
you. And
those
thank you for,
moments, right? I mean,
yeah.
that's and then Queenie. I mean, your focus on the female and you know, and Fred, yours is on the male, and it's just a perfect balance. I see how we had this information for this season. So I know that this episode is going to really, really inspire someone. My curtain fell because the dog was playing and the sun shining, but that this episode is really going to be channeled to the right person to reach out to either of you because it's just great. I'm so grateful. So thank you so much, everyone. Guys, you are gonna love. You're gonna love Rex Sikes. I'm telling you. We had him on this season. He and I met a few years ago on Clubhouse, so we've never met literally face to face, virtually, and such an inspiration. He's considered the mindset master, and when you hear him speak, you're gonna really understand why. So we're gonna have his intro, and we're gonna bring up the great Rex Sikes. You guys are free to hang out and get some of this wonderful wisdom and information. So when we come back, Rex Sikes, mindset master.
Life on Your Terms author and mindset master, Rex Sikes.
Yay! Hey, Rex, how are you tonight, sir?
I am fantastic, and it's marvelous being with you and your amazing panel of guests. You are providing so much thoughtful value and added value to people who are watching now live or in replay, and I'm very proud and honored and humbled to be with you.
Just glad that you accepted. I wanted, I got my wish, Dr. Jody to start it, you to end it, and we have these great guests here who provide us with so much information and value. How appropriate. So thank you for, you know, accepting to close our season out with life on your terms. So I wanted to ask you, I asked everyone, I was like, share with us a moment that you would describe and consider supernatural visitation that changed and impacted your life for the better.
Wow. Well, you know what? I mean, there are numerous, but I wanted to go slightly in a different direction with the concept because, you know, some people think in terms of miracles as being, you know, say to the mountain over there, be moved, and the mountain is moved, you know. And I think of miracles as being able to eat and sleep and rest and have connection with family. And so my most prominent supernatural visitations was the birth of my children, and every moment of every day that I say I love you, or that they say that they love me, that connection, that relationship that, you know, we have to other people who are important to us is truly super and natural. So if you don't mind, that's what I would like to really emphasize, is that each of us has those moments in our everyday life that transcend the regular or the mundane, and can be uplifting and inspiring and edifying for all of us when we connect deeply with those people who are important to us. And then beyond that, the ability to give and to compassionately give, to go that extra mile, even to strangers, to friends, family, strangers, and anyone we meet, put a smile on their face and help them have a magical moment. And then they too, because that's how we meet God, is on this plane. And some people look for kind of a mystical connection instead of an everyday connection with God, as if, so I think God is in the grass and in the flowers and in the trees and in the people and in the dogs. And, that's why we're here, is to celebrate all of it.
Oh, great. Oh, great. So the birth of your children gave you those moments of clarity.
Well, the best thing that's ever happened to me, the most significant thing I've ever done, was to gift the world with the kids who follow after me. And boy, they're their own kids. No thanks to me at all. I mean, they who showed up was amazing and is amazing.
That's such a blessing, Rex. Now, life on your terms. I am okay, so everyone, you see it behind him. Go to rexsikes.com. Get this book. Get the book. Get everyone's book, actually, but especially this one. I'm getting it. I have to say, I have everyone's books allocated, and I got Rex when we had him on, and I'm in chapter 20. And I wanted just for you to share and give us some insight on chapter 20. And I picked up a couple of sections here, but let me see. Chapter 20. Stop creating drama, and crap in your life. I was like, the conversation tonight has been focused on trauma. I love how everything's just coming together. But in that chapter, Rex, there are some points that I really want us to talk to tonight. I want you to share. The first one is feel your way to happiness and success.
So I'm going to circle back, if you don't mind, and I'll use the Bible for reference. The Garden of Eden story, for example, Adam and Eve show up, and whether people believe that to be literal or an allegory is not, I'm not telling people how to believe it, but in that story, Adam and Eve are in the Garden of Eden, and they're given a choice. They can eat of all of the fruit, of everything there, but the one thing that they're not supposed to eat of is of the tree of, of the knowledge of good and evil. So they can eat from the tree of life. They can eat everything, what they want, but they can't have the knowledge of good and evil. And guess what they chose? The knowledge of good and evil. It's kind of like holding candy in front of a child going, you can't have this. But at any rate, as a result, and I like it from the allegory standpoint, or from the literal standpoint, is that when we made a choice, we chose information over life. We chose thinking over experience. We chose knowledge over our heart or our relationship with God or the Creator, which is an interesting thing because in the Garden of Eden story, we were given dominion over everything. And at the same time, I believe that God showed us that we were creators. In other words, what we had to do was create homes and cities and opportunities and clothing and everything that's come about in the human world has come about because someone's created it. And sometimes it's from need. We created air conditioning because it was too hot, or we created heat because it was too cold. We created the whole thing. So we are creators, and we get to choose. And what we've forgotten is that so often we've chosen knowledge over experience, and we forgot that we're a creator and think that we're the victim of experience or of circumstances, that things happen to us instead of they originate from within us. So how we view the world is a large part of what kind of world we find. So when it
Wait a minute. Excuse me, sir. Can you back up, please?
Can I what?
Repeat that last sentence you just said, Rex, because that was just, you said something about the world we find.
So the world we find is the one that we have a view of the world, and that's the world that shows up most of the time for us. You know, it
Wow.
comes from our beliefs. It comes from within to without. How we imagine the world to be is what we discover in the world. And so going into what you were, the quote you were talking about in terms of feeling our way to happiness and success, so often what happens to people is that they look at the outer world and they see chaos or confusion, or they see hardship or difficulty. They see the obstacles or the problems. They see the disappointments or the sadness or the frustration or the anger, and they allow that to contaminate their feelings and their thinking. So instead of feeling happy and successful and loving and peaceful and kind, and understand, here's an interesting thing about the Bible. The Bible is filled, I believe, and I mean, but you can check this out. It's not so much about sin, although the original definition of sin is to make a mistake and to turn your back on making mistakes and to leave that behind and to pursue, a different way of being. But it's on promises to each of us, to the believers, of what we can do with the faith of a mustard seed, what we can create, what we can experience, what we can share, how we can live our life, to be still and to know, that I am God, to listen to that still small voice that's within us, to let it guide us and help us move through the world in an everyday way, understanding that we have the opportunity to create beautiful, wonderful, good, incredible experiences for ourselves and for other people, and to compassionately give and help, and uplift others. And instead of understanding that and feeling the gratitude and the love and the abundance and the prosperity and the goodness that we can be filled with, and the success that we can be filled with, people allow the petty stuff and the tragic stuff and the drama stuff in everyday life to contaminate them, so that they are removed from that. And instead of creating all of the goodness, they end up creating and or perpetuating all of the very things that they don't want. So if your life isn't everything that you want it to be, what it tells people, what it should inform you, is that you're making choices of where you put your attention, where you put your energy, where you put your thought, where you put your experience, what you talk about, how you behave. And that perpetuates the very thing that you don't want. And if you want something different, you need to think differently, feel differently, speak differently, behave differently, and you will get different results. When you remove your energy from what you don't want and put it toward what you do want, that's when things begin to really happen good for you. And most people don't know that because we're not taught that. We're not educated that way. We're taught, the world is cruel. It's a tough, hard place. There's a lot of haters in the world, and there are. But, we focus on the problems. That's what the news and the media, perpetuate.
Right.
So
we've been conditioned to, just to accept things as they are and blame the other guy.
Right.
Oh, it's the devil. The devil did it, or that person, or whoever. Instead of actually, because believe it or not, it can be quite challenging in the beginning when you're putting in that work to rearrange your energy and redirect it towards what you do want.
Do you know where we
experience conflict and contrast, right, Rex?
Oh, absolutely. You know where we gave most of our power away? When we were kids, and we went in and we grabbed some cookies that we weren't supposed to, or a snack or candy, and someone came in and said, "Did you take the cookies?" And we said, "No." So and so took them, or I don't know what happened, or the dog ate them, or whatever. We either didn't take responsibility for it. We either blamed something or someone else, or we made excuses. The moment we give a reason, if somebody says, "Why did you do that?" You go, "Well, I did it because you've given your power away." You say, "I did it because I did it," because that's what the truth of the matter is. Yes, I stole the cookies, but we don't say that because we were afraid of the consequences. So instead of owning our power and our behaviors and our actions and being filled with integrity and congruent, we start to say, "No, I didn't do that. I didn't do that," and we excuse. And when we do that, we're no longer in charge. We're worried about some consequence or some person or something, descending on us or punishing us or doing something. It's far better to say, "You know what? I took the cookies. Go ahead, lock me up. Spank me. Take away my, game or whatever, but I did it." Because once you start doing that, once you accept responsibility for the mistakes you make. You can accept responsibility for the good things too. And when you take 110% responsibility for everything in your life, you become very, very powerful. As long as you're giving excuses and reasons and blames and whines and complaints away, you're not powerful.
Right. Now, Rex, I'm thinking because I've noticed that my personal experience that when I actually assumed and owned and took some responsibility of my actions, those result of those consequences, I experienced much more grace versus when I lied,
Yeah.
denied or something. I think there's something behind being courageous and owning your power.
Yeah, own your mistakes and own your good things. So if you own everything, you own everything. You know what I mean? I mean, but people want to give away some things and they want to claim other things and they don't want to be known for this and they want to. I very simply in my book and in my workshops and in programs where people come to me, I go, you have a choice. You got dog crap or diamonds. And sadly, a lot of people choose dog crap.
Mm-hmm.
And they're, why? Because they're comfortable with it. They don't know any better. That's what they've always chosen. So they don't realize that they could have diamonds. They could drape diamonds. They could deck themselves up with diamonds, but they don't. They take dog crap. But it's a choice. And once you become aware that any moment you can choose, I choose the problem or I choose the solution, I choose the dog crap or I choose the diamonds, then you have the ability to start taking responsibility for your choice. Okay, I chose dog crap. That was not what I wanted, and I ended up with some pretty tough, issues. So let me choose diamonds instead. Let me change the direction of what I was thinking about and how I was feeling, and let me look for the good. All hardship. Napoleon Hill said all hardship has within it, and all adversity has the equivalent seed of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But as a seed, you have to find it. You have to look for it. It's not necessarily noticeable like seeds are in the ground, or you can't tell necessarily where they are. So you have to look for the good. And when you look for the good, when you look for things, the lesson, when you look for what is grateful, what you appreciate about yourself or others or the situation, most people, and maybe your guest, your incredible panel, and yourself would agree, most people, when they look back on their life, their defining moments are often those that were their toughest moments, the hardship moments, the things they had to overcome, the things that while they were going through it, thought, I'm never going to get through this. This is hopeless. I'm helpless, and woe is me. And now they look back and go, if it hadn't been for that, I had a number of horrible tragedies in my life. But if it hadn't, and in my book, I read about the one at 25. But if I hadn't had that one,
right,
I wouldn't have the next one 10 years later. I wouldn't have the next one after that. But I wouldn't have the children I have today. Because of the decisions I made based on those things, I ended up choosing a person who became my spouse, who gave me the children, that I have. So I look and I go, every single one of those tragedies or traumas or dramas in my life was actually stepping stones to getting, the most incredible children I could ever imagine having. So it's all good. But at the time, I didn't think so. Now I think so. Now I'm going, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Because look at where I am today. And whatever's going on today, the same thing is true. Tomorrow or 10 years from now, we could look back and go, wow, that was incredible. So here's the question. Why wait to look back on it and think it's better? Why not just celebrate it now? Why not feel grateful for it now? Because when you feel your way to happiness and success and you fill yourself with gratitude and you awaken to the fact that there's infinite possibilities and infinite opportunities and infinite resources available to you and through you and for you and around you, then why ever complain about anything? I get it. We do, but we don't have to.
Right. And it can be challenging, but it's so worth it to get into that space where you are in that, I give you to approach where you feel as if you have nothing to lose, that you know what I mean? That feeling where you're like, okay, come on, bring it, whatever. When you have that approach and then you have that right mindset, we were talking about earlier, the mindset is, then you're able to confront and assume your rightful authoritative place as a God creator.
And we can't really take our dominion until we take our responsibility. I've spent a lot of times during my life blaming other people. But when I got to the point of awakening and taking the responsibility, I could have left that situation at any time if I made a decision to leave it. And so once I took my responsibility back for my situations and not blaming other people, then I took back my dominion, my God-given dominion, to rule over my life as I see fit, because I'm the only one that I can change. Everybody that did anything to me or said anything to me, I can't change them. I can only change me when I take responsibility for that. So I kind of want to hear something from the other panelists as to how they're feeling about what's being said or how they can apply it. Anybody?
Yes, I'll make a quick comment. I've had some similar situations where either in business dealings or something like that didn't go right, or a relationship, or someone just said some things about me that were totally untrue. And you want to kind of blame them for, I guess, attacking you in that way, or going after you in that way. And if you know they're not true, but you can't stop it, no matter what. Like you said, people are that way. And so what I had to do was to disconnect myself from those people, like unplug, so that those things that they were doing, okay, you're going to continue doing those things, but I'm going to take control of, if I have to be affected by them in a near sense or distant sense, I just disconnect as much as possible in every single way from those people and those situations, so that they can't happen to me again. It's hard to not blame, and I get what Mr. Sikes is saying. It's difficult to not do that, but in life, those things happen, and you have to find some way of dealing with it, either by just saying, okay, I'm not going to blame them anymore. Like you're saying, I'm going to take dominion over this myself. And what I did, again, I disconnected. I just pulled the plug on those things that were going on. And then I was able to then soar, just go to great heights by myself without them, because I was literally carrying some people in business. I was, they were on my backs. I was lifting everybody and trying to lift everybody up around me and with me. And doing so, that's a heavy burden, especially if they're not the right people that should be lifted with you. That's a tough thing. And if they're doing some things that are destroying you and what you're trying to do. So I just disconnected, unplugged it, and I kept going and to do some better things.
Well, I totally agree with you. I wrote a whole book, Disconnected.
Oh.
When you reach that age, I had an interview yesterday, and that was one of the things the guy asked me, how did you focus long enough to get this done and to get 3 more books, manuscripts completed? Because I made a conscious decision that some of the things around me that I was bringing into my spirit, bringing into my head, and bringing into my heart was toxic. Mm-hmm. And every now and then you have to say, I'm going to just back up. I'm going to focus on something positive. If it takes me away from you and you don't understand that, then it was supposed to take me away from you.
Right.
So, you get to a point sometimes that you have to step away and let God use you and take you in the direction that he wants you to go in. And that's going to leave a lot of people by the side sometimes. They're not going to get it. They're going to feel you being funny acting, that you're better than they are, or you don't want to deal with them. But sometimes you need that space and that time to just completely disconnect, pull yourself to the side, and let him talk and work through you. And that's what I ended up doing on my lunch break, that hour lunch that I used to sit in the break room with people and chit chat. You want to be friendly. You want to be social. But then when you start noticing, like, you just went out to lunch with her, and now you're talking about her and here to us. I don't want to be around you. So I'm going to pull myself away. And that's what I did. And 3 books later, it's like, hey, that worked for me. So I know when to disconnect. I need to disconnect.
Right.
And that's a great segue into the other point in chapter 20 of Life on Your Terms. Rex has here. Decide what kind of creator and magnet you are going to be. Rex,
Wow.
please share your thoughts on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because, it goes back to taking responsibility and it goes back to having a choice. So I try not to tell anybody what to do. If you hire me as a coach or a trainer, then I have an obligation to be direct and to try and troubleshoot and assist you in discovering, whatever to help you move forward. But in general, I try not to, prescribe how people should be. What I do say is own your decision. If you make a decision, own your decision, and then live by that. I firmly believe that all circumstances, that God sends us nasty people to wake us up. That they are gifts. They aren't really nasty. They are messengers of God to help us discover things about ourselves that we can't see otherwise, unless we're like stones need friction in order to become smooth. So our circumstances, our events, other people in the world are all gifts for us. Now, that doesn't mean that every time someone comes into my life and I think, oh my God, what a beautiful gift. Sometimes we think, oh my God, what a miserable, whatever. But, but but if we wake up to the fact that they are a gift instead of blaming them or making excuses or complaining or defining or describing them, then we discover what the learning and the message is. So one of my favorite stories from Napoleon Hill, I think I've shared with you before, but is the one about Edward C. Barnes, the very first chapter in Think and Grow Rich. Edward C. Barnes wanted to be a partner with Edison. He didn't have any money, so he, looking like a hobo, jumped a freight train, went to New Jersey to put Edison on notice that he was going to be a partner. And Edison looked at him, saw a burning, fire in his eye, and said, "Well, okay, you can be a janitor." Wasn't a partner. Didn't get what he wanted. Edison didn't bow down and go, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you showed up. Welcome." Obviously you're partner material. So he got a job as a janitor, and as you read just a couple paragraphs later, it says for 5 years with no visible evidence that he would ever be a partner to Edison, he worked in the warehouse as a janitor. But in his heart, in his mind, he continued to keep that fire alive. He continued to keep his dream alive. He continued to say, "I'm a partner of Edison. I'm a partner of Edison." He didn't go out and criticize the people that thought he was a janitor. He didn't go out and blame Edison. According to Hill, he kept the dream alive inside himself, but he worked as a janitor. Didn't make way. And then one day, 5 years later or 6 years later, an opportunity arose where the salespeople couldn't sell a particular dictograph of Edison's, and they were complaining and whining that they just weren't able to sell, and it was not good. Nobody would buy it. And Barnes said, "I'll do it. I'll sell it." And the rest is history. It became made by Edison, sold by Barnes, and he became a partner of Edison. But the point is that his energy was devoted to the thing he wanted to create, not to the problem. His energy was created to being a partner with Edison, not to being a janitor. He didn't look at the people who thought he was a janitor or the situation and blame and whine and complain about it. He kept the energy alive so that when the time was right, when the opportunity opened up, he was there for it. Had he been whining and complaining and blaming and excusing, he might have missed it, because so often when we're complaining and whining and blaming and not taking responsibility and we don't see what's being offered us. This is why I say that the gifts that show up in other people are often hidden in personalities that we don't like, because we can't see them because of our own biases, our mental filters, our values, our conditioning, our beliefs, our experience from the past, or our experience with similar people. So we're somewhat blinded to the fact that these people showing up in our lives are gifts. Now, if you decide I don't want the gift, or I need to set boundaries, that's your decision. That's what you live by. I'm not here to tell you you should do otherwise. What I encourage people to do is to develop awareness as much as possible, to notice what's going on when they can. And if they make a mistake, they then adjust and correct it. They take responsibility for it, and they move in a different direction. The whole idea is to not do the same stupid things over and over and over again.
Right.
If you find yourself choosing dog crap all the time, stop and turn your attention to the diamonds and go, "That's where I'm headed," and then head in that direction, not back toward the dog crap. But we do this through our feelings and we do this through our thoughts. And we also do it through our words, because so often people reinforce their thinking because their thoughts are inside, but the words we say are outside. We betray ourselves. Somebody says, "How would you like to do this?" You go, "Well, I can't do that." If you say, "I can't afford it, I don't have time, I don't know how," what you're saying is you don't know yet how resourceful you are. You're giving an excuse or a blame or a whine or a complaint instead of saying, "I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I can figure that out. I don't know how I'm going to afford it, but I really want to do it. So I'm going to put my energy into finding new ways legally to be able to afford it. I'm going to take my energy and apply it in this direction so that you always have a forward step that you can move in." But what my book is about, what Life on Your Terms is about, is how you do that with incremental steps, step by step, where it's fun and delightful. It's not a struggle. You don't have to beat yourself up or others in order to do it, but that you pick up these changes along the way and discover yourself transforming in positive and powerful and pertinent ways to who you are and what you want to accomplish in life.
And what I've noticed and I really appreciated about the book, Rex, is the way it's formatted. It's as if you're reading it along with me, because you have the certain areas where it's bolded and it's underlined, and it's like, wow, he's already done it for me. And you're just like referencing these key details. Wow, life on your terms.
I appreciate that, because I oftentimes say the book is like I'm speaking to you. I'm actually whispering in your ear, and showing you, taking you by the hand and going, "Yeah, here you go. Try this, do this. You don't know how much fun you're going to have if you explore this area." So it's a whisper, but it's very powerful. And by the way, if they can see right now, rexsikes.com/book, if they go to there and they go buy the book, say at Amazon, they come back to that website with their receipt code, I will give them a $497 training absolutely free. It'll be my gift to them on mastery, how you master your thoughts, your feelings, your speech, your behaviors, so that you get the results that you want to get, or any talent that you want to learn. It's called the Mastery Loop, and it's my bonus gift for those people who purchase the book from Amazon.
Great. Thank you so much, Rex. Now, speaking of books, because the panel, there's a couple of other folks that have great books. Now, Lydia, your book, Free Land for Sale, we know it's on Amazon. Give us a short, like 30-second blip on about your book, and so that the viewers will know a little bit about it.
Okay, my book is Free Land for Sale. It is on Amazon. It is on Barnes and Noble. It is in Google Books. This is a book written in screenplay format or script format. So that's my goal moving forward, is that at some point I would like to see it on a big screen or either on a stage. That's my goal. But that's not the purpose for me writing in that format. That format was just easier for me to keep the characters separate, keep their personalities separate, and to be able to tell the story that I wanted to tell. So that's kind of where it's in a classroom setting, and it's about the 3 subjects you're not supposed to talk about with people you don't know. That's religion, racism, and politics.
Wow. And you know what's so interesting? Now dig this, Lydia, because you didn't know. You didn't know. Rex is an actor.
What?
He's part of the acting community. Yes. Isn't this great? And I'm fanning out because I'm like, yep, God's spoon, not my spoon, God's spoon. Because when it's all going to come together. I'm just looking at how everything's kind of the connections and stuff. So you guys are going to have to reach out to each other and share. Rex, I mean, wow, such great stuff. Now, Queenie, Queenie, oh my goodness. I saw your website, your book, and you have a guide and you have the mother-daughter journal. I mean,
yes. So I'm super excited. The Self-Love Lessons is the book that my first book, and that is the free book that I'm offering at the QueenieBrown.com. But the Mother Daughter Journal is the one that I'm so super excited about. It is an interactive mother's mentorship tool, and it's designed to open the lines of communication between a mom and her daughter. So there's instructions inside, and in the front are the daughter's pages, at the back are the mom's pages. And I'm actually coaching mom through it, because as the daughter starts to incorporate some of her real thoughts and her honest feelings, it might trigger mom. And mom, mom, we want to make sure that moms don't re-injure the daughter and shut her down. So, emotional work is tender-hearted work, and we get to just go to a deeper level of understanding. So I'm super excited about it. There are QR codes throughout that lead mom to lessons that I've created inside the book, so that it helps walk mom through it. And then I'm also offering a 5-month course called the Mother Love Immersion, and we're kicking it off with a 3-day healing beach retreat here in Southern California in late August. So I'm super excited about that. And if any of you are interested, please do join me at QueenieBrown.com or at the MotherDaughterJournal.com. And if you go to MotherDaughterJournal.com/free, you can download 7 steps to a deeper heart connection with your daughter. And so I'm super excited about all of it, and I can't wait to help more moms heal. We're doing it together.
Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh. Just go to QueenieSpeaks.com. I mean, it's just so amazing. Oh, wow. Wow. Rex, oh, no, wait, let me calm down. Fred, I wanted you to share about God's Alpha Male, that brand. Share with us,
Yeah, so we developed the brand to be like a presence in front of men all the time, so that they'll see these logos. For example, one would say is a praying man. Another logo may say is a family man, is a faithful man, loves his wife. And then that brand is what we have implemented on apparel, like T-shirts. You can see the guy there that has the apron. And these are gifts that women can give to men, or men can give to other men, or even buy for themselves. Other things like mouse pads right there, and it says God's Alpha Male is a family man or a praying man, the same type of logos. So what we did here is try to keep that image in front of men in as many ways as possible, so they can start thinking through, this is what I need to be. And I'm being reminded by the logos and by the things that I have and by the gifts that's been given to me. And so it helps them to think like that. And hopefully, they'll start acting that same way and understanding that's the alpha male that they want to be, or that they should be, is God's alpha male. So we are on Amazon, as well as we have our own company site. And so we're trying to also develop something for women. Our Amazon account manager, he likes what we're doing here for men in terms of God's Alpha Male and that brand. But he's really wanting us to develop something similar for women. So I'm going to have to think through that one and see, what comes up. But I have some ideas, and I think they're going to be just as successful.
Well, we're excited for you and everyone, and what you guys are doing. I mean, I was so impressed, and I know that you're going to connect with each other and just stay connected, because I believe that there's partnerships in here. It's a lever in me. I'm sorry. I'm going to put people together for different reasons and purposes. So forgive me about that. But fantastic. Rex, wonderful, wonderful conversation tonight, sir.
Thank you.
Parting words for us, sir?
Pardon me, did I have parting words for you? Is that what you?
Yes.
Well, right. Yes. But before I do, I just want to say again, I've been here the entire time and listened to all the speakers. You had a great each person has so much to offer and so much value, and I encourage everybody to visit each speaker and to enjoy what they offer and make it your own. I mean, help spread the love and help share what you're doing and what each of us here are doing. So thank you. Yeah, just again, choose diamonds. Fill yourself so much with love and goodness and joy, and the way that you do that is to do simple things. Go pet a dog. For example, play with a child. Go put a smile on somebody else's face. Help somebody who's worse off than you are. Sing, dance, skip. Enjoy. Read inspirational stuff. But fill yourself with joy, and then spread that joy. Choose the light over the darkness. Emphasize the light over the darkness. Emphasize the light over the shadow, because ultimately what you want to do, and the reason my book is called Life on Your Terms, is because you can create the life that you want. So make sure that the life that you want is worth creating.
That's right.
And then create it, because what's the alternative? Is to live by default, or to live as you have, or to live or settle for less than glorious. And you can make your life incredibly glorious. And I'll finish with this. There are people in the world who have lots and lots and lots of stuff. They're uber rich, right? And yet they're unhappy. I get called into these people's homes and their businesses a lot, and they go, look at what I have, and yet I'm miserable. And then there are those people around the world, they have virtually nothing. They have absolutely nothing. But they have the people around them, they have love, and they're filled with joy, and they're filled with compassion, and they're filled with goodness. And so you have to ask, which one do you want to be? Do you want to be the person who's happy no matter what you have, or the person who's miserable with all of what you have? Because that is a choice. And each of us make that. And the people who are miserable with what they have can learn to be happy, and the people who have nothing can learn to have something. So it's all what we do with what we have. What we have is a heart and a head, and our speech and our behaviors that we can use to promote the light, to fill ourselves with light, and to share the light. And with that, that's what you're doing and your guests are doing, and I'm happy to be a small part of that today.
Thank you, Rex. I'm like, wow. Woo, let me just, yeah. Okay, so I'm trying to organize this thing so we can now see everyone here. Perfect. Thank you so much, Rex. Thank you, everyone, for just sharing. So grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that when you go back and you rewatch this episode, when podcast listeners, when you listen to this, listen to it over and over again, because there's an area in here that will speak to you. We touched on so much tonight from everyone's different points of views, the input that they shared, immense value. So I'm extremely grateful to all of you. I want to, again, thank you all for accepting the invitation. You will be hearing from us again as we prepare for the next season. So please look out for that. Again, I want to thank each and every one of you. May God truly bless you, and may you continue in your purpose and your walk. And Rex, I'll be hearing and looking out for you in Clubhouse when we're able to connect. Yes.
Can I say that who's ever watching or listening right now, if any one of the speakers or all of us or whatever touched you in some way, share this with other people so they too can be touched. Make sure that you spread the word, because between seasons, there's a whole lot of giving to be done and a whole lot that we can accomplish. So make sure that you're sharing out, spiritually speaking and awakening, and you'll be doing good for everyone.
Yes. Thank you. So again, thank you all so much. Have a blessed evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you. Wow, co-host. Wow. Can you believe it?
Yes, it was a blessing to hear. Because I really want to hear everyone's perspective, because I really believe all of these guests have a piece of the puzzle. And once we put all the pieces together, then we have a whole picture. We have a whole place. And then I wanted to tell you, I have a book too. Don't forget Mental Equation, Me.
Yes.
It's on Amazon also. So I'm I'm super excited that we have grown from Facebook to Stay in Love TV.
Wow. Yeah, and yeah, your book is on Amazon. And
Yes,
yeah, I
let's
think
talk.
that
I'm working on my second one.
are you I know you're gonna have I know the second one's gonna be amazing. I know it
Um,
is. I know it is.
there is so much to talk about.
Yeah. Well, co-host, we did it again. We did it again. Another season,
Yes,
another reason. Uh, did some great things. I believe because I feel, you hit this wall and you're like, well, what's going on?
yeah.
And you see little progression and you're like, okay, I see it. Despise not the day of small beginnings. So I'm really grateful that we had even a better season.
And Lydia and her spoon.
That right on time. God spoon, your spoon. She's so
Yeah.
it was right on time too. Yeah, they all had some great input. Oh my gosh, I'm telling you that this. See, I have to get them in phases because otherwise, I'll just buy. If I buy them all at the same time,
Yeah.
I'll never read them. So Lydia's is next, and Queenie's, and oh wow, and I'm gonna send some gifts and stuff from Fred's product line over to the men in my life. Oh, just amazing gifts this season, co-host.
Yeah, we just want our guests to know we support them physically, mentally, emotionally, prayerfully. We don't just bring you on and then forget about you, but we appreciate all of them
Yeah,
because they could have been doing something else. And even Queenie was at the park with her kids and still came on. So
such dedication and commitment, right? And I think about that. I'm like, man, they could have told me. They could
I
have
don't
said
have
me
time,
or
right?
heard me. One of my ride along episodes, I'm cutting up. They were like, what? I don't think so. Totally. That's a total.
And then I think Rex was having his daughter or somebody was having surgery and
all right.
in recovery, and everybody made sacrifices. So we are grateful and we don't take it lightly because you could have been doing anything else, but you decided to be here with us. So we're thankful and grateful. And we send blessings over their businesses, over their families, over them so that everything will prosper. Because sacrifices are seeds planted. And so I'm grateful. Because they could say, we don't know who you are. We're not coming on your show. Who is Stay in Love TV? But
what is it?
What
is it? What do you mean stay in love? What kind of network is
we have no sense at all, man. We don't even know how to be on TV. We're so silly.
I'm like, well, that's the name that I was given.
We have no sense at all to be on somebody's TV. But we know that laughter is like a very good medicine. So we just need to be ourselves and lighten up and stop trying to prove ourselves to everybody and just be yourself. If they like it, awesome. If they don't, that's not even your business. So
like I said, I'm leaving artifacts because I know this place is my home. I'm just, I'm fulfilling my assignment so I can, get my pink slip and be, yep, here you discharge papers, Massey. Here you go. I'm like, yeah, I fulfilled my mission. I'm serious. I am so committed to that other place.
Transfiguration.
I am so committed. I'm like, because there's, you have to put all this stuff in perspective because life will really make you feel a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
If you let it. If you do, if you really take all this stuff seriously.
Right. And the things that Rex talked about was like creating what you want. We are creators. I've always said that. We've been created by the creator to be creative. So start creating your creations and stop duplicating. So I've always said that because we don't realize that we have something that's so original, that is so powerful, that is so refining, that nobody can touch it. Can you believe that God created so many talented people, so many gifted people? And so this week I've just decided to receive. You know, God's saying to me, my children don't know how to receive. So this week I've just decided to receive all the promises, all the blessings, all the anointing, all the power. And once you just say, God, it's so simple, just saying, I receive that. You know, I trust you enough that I receive that. So just receive. It's finished. So you might as well just receive.
And it's all about, it goes right back. Everything was just it created this beautiful necklace of wisdom. It's all about the mindset.
Yeah, just receive it.
Mindset.
Just receive it. We're so conditioned to being combative.
It just all was pieced together,
right,
so beautifully.
Beautiful picture. Beautiful picture.
Yeah. So I pray and I wish that for the viewers that are watching tonight, that you make it a conscious decision that you're going to view this world differently now, so that you will forever remain in peace and certainty. I mean, people say they love God, they trust God and all that, but when it gets right down to it, when you are going through something, it's when you really will be able to see your true character, I believe sometimes.
Yeah, he was talking about those things you go through are really your builders. They really build you. They bring out that which is great in you. We don't like to deal with those type people, but I recognize that for myself when I say taking responsibility, that those people built me to be what I am today, my strength, my power. Because if they hadn't did what they did to me, then I'd never known how powerful I am, how I am an overcomer. So we just got to view things differently, and it's all in the transfiguration. It's in the mind.
All of it. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you all for catching this on the replay. Thank you all in the social media world, podcast listeners. Thank you so much for your support for this season. It was a quick one.
But meet me in the morning at 7 a.m. It's not over yet.
It's not over yet.
It's not over yet. Meet me at 7. We're going to keep talking about the kingdom.
The kingdom on today's Michelleology. Yeah, we're going to run those 2 ads for your book and for the show as soon as we wrap. So we want to thank everyone so much for joining us this season. Join us tomorrow, today's Michelleology, and on Friday, the Right Along with Vanessa Morning Show. Also on Wednesdays are our restream days. So any episodes you want to catch up on, we randomly run those episodes from each of the shows so that you can get that midweek support that you need to get you over the hump. Thank you all so much. Any questions, queries you have, go to www.standlovetv.com. And for any inquiries that you have, co-host, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Have a blessed night. And till next season, stay in love. Namaste.
Namaste. About to the divine presence, power, purpose that God has placed in you.
Good night, everyone. Stay in love.
Get your copy of Mental Equation, available on Amazon and on Stay in Love TV, today's Michelleology.
7.
Get ready for your now awakening, today's Michelleology, Monday, 7 a.m. Eastern, only on Stay in Love TV. Stay in Love TV is your production to distribution solution to getting your message seen and heard.